This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Hello and welcome to the Research Talks podcast here on Stock Box with Alan Green. So Alan, it's good to be chatting to you again. How are you doing?
Good morning, Mark. Yes, I'm very well, thanks. And it's looking sunny-ish here, so I'm hoping we're going to have a fairly decent weekend. But of course, the weather can change on a sixpence, as we know.
One would hope it would be nice because it's a little bit late arriving, the warm weather. It looks nice, but it's still a little bit chilly in the air, I think. But at least the trees are all blossoming, which is nicer to look at. But I could do with a slightly more heat, considering coming back from really nice and sunny and hot Zimbabwe. It would be nice to get some more heat back here. But anyway, it is what it is. So today we're going to be talking about Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies, who of course had that milestone moment that they're able to proceed now to phase 1 clinical trials, which has been coming for a little while. And Blencowe Resources, who also raised some money recently to advance what they're doing. So you want to start us off with OCTP?
Yes, indeed, Mark. So OCTP, of course, we have spoken about OCTP previously. That's Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies. The company developing a range of next-generation cannabinoid prescription medicines, and they've been doing that since 2017. They have fast-tracked drug development strategy to lower developmental risks and costs, and also they're working to shorten the time frame to bring the products to market. Just a bit of background, not that I completely understand the science, but I kind of get the principle behind it. So we all have cannabinoid receptors in us. They're called endocannabinoids in human beings, and in plants and mammals they're called phytocannabinoids. Now, our endocannabinoid system receptors are found in the brain and nervous system, and effectively by taking these cannabinoid medicines, molecules, our system responds and reacts to that. And this is a huge, burgeoning and growing marketplace. It's estimated that the cannabinoid technologies, of course, are well known for their work in treating pain associated with cancer and other diseases, and particularly those in palliative care. But the pain market is absolutely huge. It's worth, with cancer, £5.5 billion globally. The migraine market is bigger still, 6.3 billion. The visceral pain market is huge, and of course that's just that there are lots of pain conditions that people suffer from that aren't necessarily down to one thing or another, so it's classed as visceral pain. Muscular skeletal pain, fibromyalgia, neuropathic pain, lower back pain. It's just a huge marketplace, and the potential market size for cannabinoid pain relief technologies is in the region of 43 to 44 billion as we speak at present, and that's of course growing rapidly. There's also potential to treat other disorders such as multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and all of these are being looked at and developed by various companies. But Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies have 4 key programs that they are working with, and the company has its primary program, or its lead program, Program 1, OCT 461201, is a product that targets neuropathic and visceral pain, and this is of course an absolutely huge marketplace. So with these with the programs the company is running, it is working with key companies within the sector as partners. The company classes them as research partners. And with Program One to target visceral and neuropathic pain, they're working with a company called Evotech, ASCAT, Eurofins, Apconix, and Cerebro. Program 2 is targeting neuralgia, that's severe face pain, and with this program, they're partnering with Apconix again, VCLS, Cerebro, Charles River, and a number of others, Purasis being one of those two. And then Program 3 working on diversified PCB, so that's the phytocannabinoids. They're developing, working with Canopy Growth, Oxford STEM Technology, and also Dalrada Drug Technologies. And then the derivative from that, which is Program 4 for neuropathic pain, epilepsy, and cancer, working with those same partners. So the company has a sound base and it's been developing these partnerships over a number of years. But there's been a sea change in the pace of development, and also some changes internally with the company. The chairperson at the company is Julie Pomeroy. Julie is also a non-exec director at Dillistone PLC. She's worked at Biofutures, Carter and Carter, Western Medical, East Midlands Electricity, Nottinghamshire University Hospital, and NHS Trust. So she's a key person within the medical industry. John Lucas, of course, was formerly chief executive, and he stepped aside early this year, where and was replaced by the CTO, the chief technology officer, Clarissa Showamimo Coca, and she's come in and she's really picked up the baton and continued with us. So there have been some key developments in developing the products this year. Going back to Program 1, of course, that's the neuropathic and visceral pain drug. At the start of the year, it was announced that the Wales Research Ethics Committee and the UK Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency, the MHRA, were reviewing the phase 1 clinical trial for Program 1, and of course that kind of put the brakes on. Although really, I think there's, looking at the way the share price has performed over the year, it's certainly since January, since it was announced that both bodies were looking at the phase 1 trial. Certainly, there's been a lot of buying, and certainly a very healthy looking chart. I mean, if you're a technical analyst, you look at the chart and say, well, the shares of this year trade as high as 0.4p and 1.6p. We're currently at 1.15p. Gives the company a market capitalization in the region of 10.5 million. And of course, the shares have continued to rise steadily, creating a series of higher lows, which is always a good sign. So the share rises and then comes back down and tests the previous low before moving higher. That's always a very healthy sign with a share. So with Program 1, the phase 1 clinical trials are set to commence this quarter. Interim results are expected at the end of Q2, early Q3. The work's being undertaken with a company called Simbec Research, and currently the company is on target to complete preclinical work for Program 1. Also, the lead stage program on Program 4, which of course is the cannabinoid derivative for neuropathic epilepsy and cancer pain. That's on schedule to be completed by the end of Q2 2023 and early Q3. So the preclinical work was completed for P1 will be completed under a £2.5 million contract research agreement with Aptivit in Verona, Italian company. And of course, as you said right at the start, Mark, what's really moved the share price is of course this week it was announced that both the MHRA, that's the UK Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency, and the Wales Research Ethics Committee have both approved the phase 1 trial. And that, of course, is a key step forward. This trial will involve healthy volunteers who will be taking a single ascending dose. And the purpose of the trial will be to assess the safety and tolerability of the lead program P1, which is, of course, OCT 130401. And it will also give Oxford Cannabinoid Technology the team there an understanding of the pharmacokinetic profile of the drug. So it's a key step forward for the company, but of course all of this work costs money. The company announced up to the end of October it had 5 million in the bank. It was debt free, and it expects to fully utilize its remaining funds by Q4 2024. So for this year and next year, the company is well placed financially. It's also received an R&D tax credit for 840,000, and that's of course after 3.1 million in R&D costs and 1.3 million in admin costs. But I think what is encouraging to see that often when you get a management switch, particularly given that John Lucas was very key in the early phases of developing Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies, Clarissa Shoamimo Coker has come in and picked up the baton seamlessly. There's been a seamless transition, and if anything, we're seeing progress start to accelerate. So going back to that chart again, it's looking really good, and we're currently at 1.1p. The shares were literally up at 1.45p a few weeks ago. So I think now would be a very good time to step in, particularly given the fact that we're going to get these preclinical program results for P1 and also further news on program 4 by the end of this quarter, early Q3. So a lots to come, lots of news flow to be expected, and I'm sure we'll see the share price move further on the back of that.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan, for that. And of course, I would agree with you. We are now in a phase where they can actually get those trials underway properly and, move up that sort of value curve, if you like. So, it's a good time to be keeping an eye on Oxford Cannabinoid and, following developments there. So that's a great little synopsis of the company and where they're at today. So if we move on to, from pharma to mining and Blencowe then.
Blencowe Resources. Yeah, this is a company that I own shares in the company, so I'll declare that at the outset. The company has been around for some years. It was a reverse takeover, an RTO, a few years back, in fact, pre-COVID, where there was a reverse takeover of Consolidated African Resources into a listing, and of course that subsequently became Blencowe Resources. BRES is the EPIC code. Now the company currently has a market capitalization almost the same as Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies at 10.4 million. Shares are traded as high as 7.8p and as low as 3p on the year. Currently just over 5.15p. And the company has been working on and developing a single asset, which is the Orem Cross Graphite project in Uganda. And of course, Uganda, Central Africa, it has a very benign political environment, very pro-mining political environment, and a mining or a government that has got very involved with and is closely monitoring the progress at Orem Cross, and with good reason. So the area that the Orem Cross Graphite project covers is some 2,000 square kilometers. It's a huge area, but of course Africa is simply enormous anyway. So it's a small speck if you look at it on the map, but nonetheless, it's a huge area. And quite simply, in this area, you can walk into the Oran Cross territory, and you can literally see flake graphite sticking out of the ground. And it was once said to me that you could drive a tractor and hoe over the ground, and you would mine healthy amounts of graphite flake that could almost be processed immediately. So that obviously was very exciting. But in order to get that product out to market, you have to assess whether what you've got is just a blip, or whether you actually have an asset with a major graphite mineralization that extends over a large area. In order to do that, of course, you have to start somewhere, and the company identified originally Camp Loeb, which was very close to where they'd originally started the search and the examination of what was there on the ground. And without sort of going through every step, it's that the graphite's been tested and developed. Some offtake agreements have already been put into place. And we're now at the stage where the Oran Cross project has a 21-year mine license. It has a net present value post-tax of $482 million. There's a 14-year initial mine life at the mine, and the company requires $62 million to basically complete and bring the mine on stream. But it has a plan in place to do that, as you'll see shortly. It's estimated once that happens that the Oran Cross mine will be able to produce 101,000 tons per annum with an average of 97% total graphite concentrate. It'll generate something like 1.1 billion in free cash over the initial 14 years, and generate some $100 million in EBITDA every single year. And of course, the demand for natural flake graphite is well known. It's a key component, of course, of energy technology, the new EV batteries, and a multitude of technologies, and also applications in smelting and a raft of other industries. It is widely recognized there is a significant shortfall in global supply. So once a project like this gets over the line and goes through the processes it has to go through, and of course that involves a preliminary economic assessment. At the PEA stage, it was a net present value of $317 million was established, and of course now we're at we've completed the pre-feasibility study. That's now $482 million. And the company is currently going through the DFS, and the DFS is the definitive feasibility study, where the quality of the product is tested by numerous bodies, and it's also the cost of establishing the mine, the route to market, getting the stuff out of the ground, processed, and then of course out of the area to the port by rail, by road. All of that process has to be undergone. It's now been established that there's a JORC indicated and inferred mineral resource estimate of 24.5 million tons at a total graphite content of 6% at the area. But the most significant development, to my mind, has been the involvement of Development Finance Corporation, DFC. Now, the DFC is quite simply an agency of the US government, and what it's agreed with Blencowe Resources is that it will supply all the finance, or it will potentially supply all the finance and provide full debt funding once the definitive feasibility study has been completed. So DFS is completed, tick in the box. Yep, the quality is established, it's well known, and of course it then means that the mine can be built and the stuff can be got out of the ground. So this is hugely significant, hugely important, and also hugely exciting too. It's a big step forward. Mike Ralston, Cameron Pierce, and the team have done a fantastic job getting it to this point. So the stages or the next phases for development are in 2024. The company will build stage one. So that's the first part of the mine, and it's estimated that will produce 800,000 million tons per annum. Stage two will be built in 2027, commissioned 2028, 1.6 million tons per annum. Then 2030, stage three will be built, commissioned 2031, 2.4 million tons per annum will be produced. Now, this is go right back to the start, this huge area that the Orme Cross Graphite Project is sited in. This could be repeated many times over within that area. There's a 21-year mining license to mine that area, so you can see exactly the potential that this will generate for the company. So the potential in terms of the implications for valuation for Blencowe as a company are absolutely huge. It was announced yesterday the company had raised 635,000 to complete the DFS. So that's now done. That's now put to bed. It was raised at 5p, so we're just over 5p today. There are three key shareholders in there: Jangada Mines, RAB Capital, and JUB Capital. And both, or rather, all three of those subscribed in that placing yesterday to maintain their respective shareholdings. So that in itself is hugely significant when you get a major mining company like Jangada investing at that level. That to me that tells me all I need to know about the quality and potential of this project. So also coming up this year, the company, the product is undergoing bulk sample testing in China. They're also testing spherical purified graphite, SPG, and also OEM testing. So that's original equipment manufacturers. So the companies that will use the end product are testing it in end product state of batteries and so on. And also the company will sign further offtake agreements. So here we are, 5.19p as we speak, with a 10.2 million market cap. Several research notes have been published on the potential for Orme Cross, and with DFC on board, as soon as that DFS is completed and we get that tick in the box, DFC will provide the funding to build the mine. Resolve Research have published a buy note, 23.3p target price. And it says Orme Cross is fast becoming a tier one project and is currently at an inflection point for graphite demand. And I'd say it's also at an inflection point in terms of its evolution as a company, because that DFS will be completed in a few months. And, hold on to your hats.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alan. Another good summary of where Blencowe is. It's good to see them moving on, isn't it? And with the increased firepower they now have in the tank, then onwards and upwards, let's say.
Well, it's very exciting, but I think also the fact that DFC, this is a US government agency, with another name, basically, they've agreed to provide the funding. So it's at the stage now. This is late stage, and once the DFS is completed, you've got a funding provider there which won't dilute the equity. So as a shareholder, you can buy in now. And no, you're not going to get diluted, which is fantastic. So I see potential growth in many multiples. So even with a 23p market, 23p share price, that would effectively equate to, I suppose, about 45-50 million. But once it's up and producing, you've got a company that's generating $100 million. EBITDA per annum. So there's an awful long way to go. And, when you invest in a mining company, this is what you want to see happen. And I think Cameron Pierce, Mike Ralston and the team have done a great job bringing it to this point.
Absolutely. The DFS is a very pivotal moment. And with that funding, like you say, similar to, different, but similar to Prem, where they managed to do it get this plant built without dilution, and it's a heck of a lot of money to get these things going. So,
it's huge. Yeah.
So that's kudos to the board for maybe to make that happen.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Alan. We've obviously covered Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies and Blencowe Resources. Thank you very much for your time. And I hope you have a good weekend, and let's speak again next week.
Thanks, Mark. You too.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.